But I mastered their styles like the Five Deadly Venoms. So all he had to do was get next to a nigga like that, and he could destroy it.
Believe in that, real. We plan to take the same strategy we use with Death Row West, mind over matter, taking all our weaknesses and making it into our strength. That all these people talk about an East Coast, West Coast war, they like the Judas was to Jesus. They only here to cause confusion. We here to bring money and to bring change. They here to cause confusion. All these weak rappers, Nas, all these suckers, they battling off of East and West like this is a game. This ain't no game. If this was chess, we'd be yelling checkmate 3 years ago, because we've been beat these. It's not a game.
What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Now, I did a video yesterday. Make sure you check that out. I actually advise you check out that first video. I'll try to quickly paraphrase, basically regarding the Canelo Triple G WBC resolution. And what was decided is both fighters get a voluntary defense, and then they have 15 days to negotiate a fight between the two of them. If not, it goes to a purse bid, and then they'll try to push for that fight. I think that's a bad deal. I don't agree with it. I explain why. And I thought I did a pretty good job in that particular video explaining why. And I really think that some of you guys play like you're dumb or try to pretend to be naive and not understand. So I'm going to make a follow-up video to clarify. There's too many questions and stuff in that first video, too many comments. So maybe I could do a sequel, a part 2, and share more of my thoughts regarding this whole situation and why I feel it's a bad deal. Again, some of you guys bring up apples and watermelons. You take two situations that aren't even remotely comparable, and then you attempt to try to make your point by having an analogy that it really just doesn't work. It doesn't make sense because the whole parameters are different. So again, for those who still have concerns and scratching their head, let me try to clarify why I don't think this is a good deal. Now, I think this is a raw deal for Gennady Golovkin. One reason is Triple G, him and his team have basically gallivanted around boxing stating that our fighter is being avoided, he's being ducked, nobody wants to fight him. Even though there's been opportunities and challenges like James DeGale, Andre Ward, Edeslani Lara, those people were put to the back burner for whatever reason, and I'm not going to get into it for that reason. But you say he's ducked and you say he's avoided. So you pass up certain opportunities like that. Then you finally get a superstar in Canelo Alvarez. You have him cornered. His back is to the wall. He beat Cotto, became the lineal middleweight champion, and you have him in a chokehold. And you let him go. You let him off the hook. That's really what I see in this circumstance. Now, the tune-up is one thing. Like, first of all, I don't see why you would have someone in a chokehold. This is what you wanted. You couldn't get a high-profile fight that would make your resume stand out and prove to the fans what you truly bring to the table. A fight with a guy like Canelo would answer questions. It would do that for you. It would catapult you. Canelo is the A-side. So if you beat the A-side, like I said in Highlander, you inherit his powers. So it reminds you of the movie, one of my favorite movies, Point Break, Keanu Reeves with Patrick Swayze. Rest in peace to Pat Swayze. And there's the end scene where Keanu Reeves is, for years, he's searching and trying to find Bodhi, trying to find Patrick Swayze. Then he goes to New Zealand because he knows he'll be there. Then they get into a fist fight at the beach. And then in the middle of the scuffle, he puts handcuffs around Patrick Swayze. And he's like, we're chained together. You can't go nowhere. And then he's like, come on, man, let me go, bro. And he got him. He got his man. This is what you wanted. You tracked him down. You searched the globe for him. And you finally got him. He's handcuffed. And it's a matter of time before he gets arrested. And out of nowhere, Keanu Reeves unlocks the handcuffs and lets him go and lets him surf into a deadly storm and a deadly wave. And then the authorities come running down. And they're like, you let him go. You let him go. Why'd you let him go? And then they're like, we'll get him when he comes back. And Keanu Reeves like, he's not coming back. Like, you know what I'm saying, on some Hollywood movie stuff. He's not coming back. That's what Golovkin did. You had him handcuffed to the point where you had him in a position where he had to make a decision. He was the mandatory. He inherited Cotto's problems. He's the lineal middleweight champion. And if he decided to vacate or drop the belts, people would clearly be like, oh, Canelo's scared, he's ducking, he didn't want no parts of Triple G, that's why he dumped the belts real quick. So it doesn't make you look bad. If anything, it'll make Canelo look bad. But you give him more time. You say, oh, that's okay. You have more time. And the biggest thing is it's not the fact of a voluntary defense. That's one thing. But it's a voluntary defense with nothing being resolved, nothing being set in stone. People are using these dumb, heinous examples like, oh, that's bias, Ego. You said it's okay for Andre Ward to fight Kovalev. Andre Ward has an HBO multi-fight deal where the end result, if they stay winning on the winning side of things, he'll fight Kovalev. That's a night and day difference. Not to mention that Andre Ward is moving up to light heavyweight, and this fight, we don't know what fight weight it would take place at. Would it take place at Canelo weight, 157, 160? So there's no question about weight in the fight with Ward Kovalev. Ward is moving up to light heavyweight. That's it. That's all there is to it, right? And again, two undefeated fighters, if they stay winning, then we know what's in store. We know what looms for the future. With this fight, if they both win their voluntary defenses, they have to then negotiate. So you basically bought Canelo like 6 months. You got 6 months to just chill, do whatever he wants, go to barbecues and I was buying ready. You know what I'm saying? Do whatever he wants. And you still don't know if you'll get what you want in the end. And you have fans, boxing fans, who are trying to act like this is the preferred way. There's nothing set in stone. So again, they have to negotiate. So you basically, let's say they both win. Canelo wins whoever he fights, and Triple G wins whoever he fights. Now you have 15 days to negotiate. But you just had this same kind of parameter, and what happened? Canelo got an extension. And then you still negotiated and still didn't get what you wanted because you bought Canelo 6 months. That's the difference. Don't bring up Ward Kovalev because that's not the case. It's not like, oh, if Ward wins his next fight and Kovalev wins against Pascal in the second fight, then they'll negotiate. They've already negotiated behind closed doors and have agreed to fight if they stay winning. That's different. That's not what happened with Canelo Triple G. It's if we win our next fight, then we go to the round table and then start throwing out issue. Oh, what's the weight going to be? What's the purse split? What's the venue? What's this and that? And blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? Whose name comes first? That's the negotiating process. So they have to break ground. You know what I mean? They don't even have things resolved. They don't even know what the next step is going to be. That's a night and day difference. So in my opinion, that's a raw deal for Gennady Golovkin, who is stressing the fact that he wants to unify. I'm not moving up. I'm staying at middleweight to unify. You had an opportunity to unify the belts with a guy who would give you the recognition that you so badly crave to get to the next level. And in my opinion, you let him off the hook. You just allowed him to have this extended grace period. Now, it's already one thing you were chasing down Cotto, who is the lineal middleweight champion, and he did the same thing and dicked you around. Cotto was like, a belt doesn't define me. Like, I don't care. You know what I mean? I don't care. And why should I pay this money to sanctioning bodies? I'd rather keep 1.1 million in my bank account. And needless to say, you didn't get the fight. You didn't get the Cotto fight. So, to me, it just doesn't make sense. It's like an Eddie Murphy joke. He said, if you're starving and somebody feeds you a cracker, you be like, God damn, this is the best cracker I ever had. What's this, a Ritz? Like, that's how it is. If you're starving to get to that level of stardom and prove your worth, and you're not going to take no losses or no extra deal. You already took step aside money for Cotto. Why? You're basically extending and hoping all will go well in this fight. And I'm telling you, boxing is fickle. Hypothetically, what if Canelo loses, right? Let's say Josh Clottey beats Rosado, and then they make Canelo versus Josh Clottey, and then Josh Clottey wins a split decision. Now, yeah, you can fight Josh Clottey for the belts because he's the new middleweight champion, right? But that is not going to give you the same type of money that you would get from fighting Canelo. So why would you even leave that to chance? Leave that to fate, that somebody could possibly beat Canelo in his next fight, and then now your mega fight just became Triple G versus Josh Clottey, Triple G versus Gabe Rosado Part 2. You know what I mean? Hypothetically, I don't know. I'm not Golden Boy. I'm not Oscar. So I don't know who they're going to match him with. But what if he loses? Period. What if he loses? That's your mega fight right there on the line. You know what I mean? You got to hope he does win his next fight. And then the other thing is, maybe they'll put him in with someone that he's definitely going to beat. You know what I'm saying? And then if that's the case, then how does that help your confidence? What's the point of a voluntary defense in that circumstance if they put him in there with Canelo versus Rod Salka or somebody he'd be like heavily favored to have advantage over, like Amir Khan? You know what I'm saying? Like, to me, then that doesn't even boost your confidence. That doesn't get you ready fighting welterweights, fighting Bradley or Khan or something. That's not going to get you ready for the middleweight champion of the world, Gennady Golovkin. So it's almost like a waste of time. It's a waste of time to see this. And Dante's Boxing Nation asked a question post-fight, Cotto Canelo, and he said, what if they say Golovkin next? What do you do? Canelo starts flexing. I was born ready. Like, no, apparently you weren't. You know what I'm saying? Because you're not sticking it to your promoter. Like, when Canelo and Lara wanted to fight, Canelo wanted to fight, and Oscar didn't. You know what I'm saying? But now you're not putting your foot down and you're allowing this to happen. So even if Canelo wants to fight Triple G, you're still letting your promoter make you look bad in essence. And just to add insult to injury with this last point is this, because some of you guys seem to not understand what I'm talking about. So let me add some clarity for you guys. So when Floyd Mayweather got out of jail, he fought his mandatory. It was on paper that he was fighting Robert Guerrero. And this is the thing, man. I cover boxing. I report on boxing. So I remember the stories I covered, the videos I've made. I'm in tune with what happens in the sport of boxing. So it's going to be a lot harder to pull the wool over my eyes because I pay attention to this sport. I report on this sport, right? So I'm not a flash in the pan like I just started watching boxing. That's the thing. So if I'm reporting on it, it helps with your memory because repetition is the mother of skill. Right? So the fact that I'm making these videos, a lot of this stuff sticks with me. I remember interviews that Abel Sanchez said, things that Triple G said, things that Mayweather said, things that Canelo said, because I report on it. Point being, so Mayweather got out of jail, fought his mandatory. He was going to fight, announced that he's fighting Robert Guerrero, who had been calling him out, right? And Canelo was supposed to fight Austin Trout. Get your fact checkers. Don't take my word for it. He was supposed to fight Austin Trout on the undercard of Mayweather versus Guerrero. Mayweather's first fight with the new deal with Showtime. And it was supposed to have Canelo, Austin Trout on the undercard, right? And Canelo was like, you know what? I want to fight the guy in the main event. I want to fight Floyd Mayweather. And Canelo had been calling out Mayweather for probably years at that point, right? I'm ready. He's like, I could beat him. You know what I mean? And because Mayweather would not agree to fight him in September if they were both successful in their separate bouts, one with Austin Trout and one with Robert Guerrero, Canelo, because Mayweather was like, I'm the A side. I'm not letting this 21-year-old dictate terms to me. Like, he got to wait his turn in line. He got to sit back. You know what I mean? You got to fall back. And because Mayweather would not agree to fight Canelo on paper, he said, I'm going to get past Guerrero. I'm going to handle that. That's my focus right now. Then we can negotiate. You don't tell me what to do. I tell you what to do type of attitude, right? And as a result, Canelo had a temper tantrum and pouted like, oh, fuck this dude. He won't guarantee to fight me in September. I'm not going to bring no additional exposure to his card. And because Canelo was a star even at that time, he's like, I'm not going to give him that type. I'm not putting my name on the flyer and giving him that type of extra publicity to have my name on his card and help it do better numbers with Austin Trout, which was a good fight that fans wanted to see because Trout was undefeated. Canelo was undefeated. He's like, I'm not doing it. He won't agree to fight me in September. I'm off. I'm off the card. And he did just that. Pulled himself the fuck off. Canelo versus Austin Trout happened a month earlier in April. And then Cinco de Mayweather had Robert Guerrero. And then they replaced the Canelo-Austin Trout fight with, I believe, Daniel Ponce de Leon versus Abner Mares, which was a solid fight on a Mexican holiday. So my point being, the reason I brought this up is because Canelo himself did not agree to give a guy exposure without it being set in stone that we're fighting next. Even though they had separate opponents in front of them, right? Voluntary defenses, if you will, even though Mayweather's was a mandatory, right? And actually, Austin Trout was a champion. So Canelo did not agree to stay on the card because he was upset that Mayweather would not guarantee him a fight with him in September if they were both successful. So that's a proof right there that even Canelo himself wasn't willing to take a deal like that. He wasn't willing to add that additional exposure to Mayweather's card because he himself knew he wanted to fight Mayweather. And if he couldn't get that promise, if he couldn't get something more tangible, something more solid, something more secure, then he wasn't going to do it. Even though Mayweather did beat Guerrero and they negotiated and he fought Canelo and beat the shit out of Canelo pretty much all the rounds. So since Canelo didn't know that, he didn't know what Mayweather's intention. He thought, oh, Mayweather's going to duck me. He's not going to give me no type of reassurance and sign on the dotted line that if we're both successful, then I'm pulling myself off the card, right? But Team Golovkin did. Team Golovkin said, oh yeah, with no type of reassurance, we have 15 days to negotiate, and it's all up in the air. Canelo could wait 6 months and say, you know what, I don't like this. I'm dropping the belts. So you waited all that time for that. And again, even if Canelo drops the belts, they'll become vacant, and then I'm sure Triple G could fight Andy Lee or somebody for a vacant title. But that's not going to get you the same type of recognition as beating a superstar. You beat an Andy Lee, you beat Toriano Johnson for a vacant belt, you beat Curtis Stevens again for a vacant belt. That does not give you the same type of recognition to say, oh, Gennady Golovkin has arrived. He's here now, as beating a champion. You know what I'm saying? Period. So to me, it's a pathetic and a raw deal because there's no security net. We don't know what's going to be decided in the future. We don't even know if they'll get past their next opponents. And even if they do, like I said in the first video, sometimes fighters don't look great. You don't want to go into the Canelo Triple G. I'm telling you, even if Canelo has a performance like his fight with Erislandy Lara, that doesn't build up the stakes for a fight with Triple G because some people don't even think he won that fight, right? So that if anything, that'll actually take it down because Canelo didn't look as sensational as he did versus Kirkland or whatever. So to me, the time is now. Canelo, it's not just about a voluntary defense, but they're both coming off of very solid performances. Triple G shut his man out, knocked him down, stopped him, and it was considered a threat because he had punching power, and he was a champion in David Lemieux. And then Canelo's coming off of beating a Hall of Famer like Miguel Cotto, and a lot of people favored Cotto to win that fight. So it doesn't get any better than that. You know what I'm saying? If Triple G beats Toriano Johnson, who got stopped by Curtis Stevens, right? Is that going to be more impressive? You know what I'm saying? It just doesn't make sense. To me, the time is now, and they should have went for the deal. Triple G and team had that man cornered, and they let him loose. They let him go, and now we'll have to wait and see. And there's no promise. There's no guarantee. They didn't pinky swear, to my knowledge, that they're going to get the fight. So that's the difference between Ward, Kovalev. Like I said, Canelo in the Mayweather situation, he didn't even want to stay on the card without a promise. So he wasn't even willing to do it. But Team Triple G was. They were willing to give this man a 6-month grace period to figure things out, have a voluntary defense, and then decide. So they're basically putting on the back burner, and we don't even know what's going to happen. We don't even know if they can agree to terms to fight in September. So people are like acting like, leaving comments, oh, yeah, it's okay. It's a tune-up fight. Let him have a tune-up fight. That's one thing. Having a tune-up fight is one thing, but we still don't know if they'll fight in September. That's the big thing. It's not about a tune-up fight. It's that even with the tune-up fight, we don't even know if we'll see Canelo Triple G and at what terms we'll see it. Will it be 155, 157, 158, 160? Will it not happen? That's the difference. So don't bring up Ward, Kovalev, and stuff like that. We do not know if the fight will happen in September, period. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like my video as always. Hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego signing off. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button. And you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxing Ego, the future of boxing.